So the next few videos, I really just want to focus on just debugging your game. So I realize I've given you guys enough, I believe, to begin making a game. If I haven't, definitely let me know in the comments below, and I'll definitely, put up some more tutorials for you guys if I have the time. But I believe I've given you enough to start making a basic game, and actually shown you a lot as towards to get you progressing pretty quickly. Really want to show you some debugging principles. A lot of kids, they make a game, myself included when I started out, and you just run into an error. You don't know what to do. You get stuck on it for like 2 hours, and then you take it to someone that knows what they're doing, and they're just like, oh, you forgot to do this. And it's just like a no-brainer. And that's normal, but we could save you a lot of time if we just teach you some of the basic debugging principles. So first, separate your stuff into folders, guys, please. A lot of people, they put it all in one folder. When I'm trying to look through something or help someone out with code or anything, assets, and I'm trying to do something, it makes it so much easier to have a folder that says scripts, so I know where all your scripts are. Folder that says scenes, so I know where all your scenes are. And don't forget, you go File, Build Settings, and you add those scenes. Just add the current scene to the build settings if you haven't done so already. But we'll talk about that later on. Sounds, textures, materials, prefabs. I can't emphasize enough how just important and essential this is. Because when you go to test, when you go to have someone play your game, when your team is, when you have 100 assets for your game, and your team can't find anything and you're losing efficiency, it's because you haven't separated your stuff out or you haven't named them well. Good naming conventions, camel case, which is just the beginning of each word starts with a capital. You could use underscores, just so many good naming conventions out there. See underscore right here, underscore intro, game scene underscore level 2. Game scene underscore level 4, 3, 4, 5, 6. Game scene underscore win. Game over. That's not necessarily debugging. It's just before a problem even occurs, it's showing you where you could actually go. Naming conventions are possibly, one of the biggest time savers in all of game design. And now really what I want to show you, I'll just take this for example, and we'll say mesh renderer. If we were to turn this mesh renderer off right here, that means that wherever that quad was, it's now invisible. And if we turn it back on, it's visible. I don't know exactly where that quad was, so it's harder for me to illustrate right now, because I believe this is a maze scene, and if that's true, yeah. So turning it off would just turn off the visibility, but, it's definitely a debug principle. Let's see if we can find it here. Yeah, see? That one right there, you see how it just disappeared? And now turn it back on, it appeared again. So that's one neat trick. But when you're debugging, debug.log, that's definitely a big thing. So if we go here, and I'll just come to the bottom of this. This is valid coding because I'm obviously outside of the class. I'm just doing this to illustrate the principle here, debug.log, and normally this would be inside some sort of if statement. If, something happens, type, additional code here, and then, it's still a comment, obviously, but, we have the parentheses, debug.log, in quotes, you send a string, just semicolon at the end really quick. We've been hit. Or, you know what? Variable X is not defined. You see? So what we're doing is we're just telling ourselves the current state of a variable. If it hits this point in the code, that means our variable isn't defined or is defined, or enemy was hit, code is good. Just send yourself a little message about the state of the game. So that's really another thing where you attach your scripts to. You get this question all the time, do you just make one script attached to the object? If you're making a bullet, do you attach, everything to that one bullet? Well, it all depends on how you want to instantiate it. Really, the way that I do it is I would say you'd want to attach some sort of shooting script to the actual player object, and then you'd attach a bullet movement script to the bullet object. Makes life a whole lot easier, debugging a whole lot easier. If you're debugging code, and let's say I thought, let's say I was getting an error on this line, comment it out, run the code, see what's happening. Obviously, red right here means not defined within the parameters of the program. But if you notice when I take this comment out, they become defined again. So if you see something in red in your program, that's a bad sign. Obviously, red associated with, an error